Hey yo, what's up everyone? It's your boy CrispPurpose back at it again with another Gems of War video for you guys. Now in this one, we're going to be taking a look at some beginner teams here. I'm not saying the super early game beginner, but beginner in some ways. You know what I mean? So you could say a little bit newer player teams for you guys, right? I think that these teams are important for some newer players because I've been seeing some newer players commenting on videos and asking about teams and stuff like that. So I'm like, let's take a look at a top 5 newer player teams, right? These are teams that you could possibly use in PvP. Some of the teams you might have to wait to particular weeks for you to use, but you should be able to use these teams in a number of different game modes, right? All right, so let's take a look at number 5. So the number 5 team right here is somewhat decent. The meta for the game is not necessarily focused on skull damage right now, but this team is a skull damage team, right? Number 5 is a times 2 Boulder, Water Elemental, and the Ocean's Tome team. Now, the Ocean's Tome is a pretty easily acquired weapon. It's a Nexus weapon, so you have to wait until Nexus comes around for the Kingdom Week so as to be able to procure the Ocean's Tome, right? Ocean's Tome requires no magic for you to be able to use it, right? Because the Ocean's Tome explodes 4 gems for each blue ally and elemental ally. So all you need to make sure for your team is that it composes of blue allies and elemental allies, and you should be able to make it work, right? The weapon also has in the upgrade. So if you're able to upgrade the weapon using legendary ingots, because this is a legendary weapon, important upgrades are, for example, the tidal, lightning, and ice. The most important upgrade, of course, is the ice. The ice is the ice storm, which is a blue storm. So more blue gems are going to be falling on the board with this weapon. And it's the most important component for this team. Preferably, I tend to use this with the Titan Hero class because the Titan Hero class tends to benefit the rest of the team very, very well. So on my Titan, this is the usual setup for my Titan. I tend to not switch it around. So I have Impact set. I also have notable upgrades on the talent tree as a Stone Circle, Storm's Aura, Rock Solid, Lightning Strike, and of course Fortitude. My Titan is usually like this. You guys can see as well I have a 20% start from an Anu. So if you have an Anu, use it. Majority of newer players might have some seasonal medals that they can use. That's why I'm pointing that out. The Water Elemental is going to be here as one. This is a really underrated epic troop, right? This is epic. Yeah, from the Sunken Fleet faction. This troop right here stuns all enemies. Now, there's a mythic that does that as well as a class that stuns enemies. But if indeed you want to use a different class, the Water Elemental will allow you to stun all enemies and deal some damage as well, right? You're easily able to get this troop from the Sunken Fleet faction. You go to the underworld, you should be able to pick up multiple copies of this and upgrade it to legendary and to mythic level if you're able to. It also has a water link, which is pretty important for this team because it's going to be gaining bonus blue mana from blue gem matches. And as you guys can see as well, I have ×2 of one of the strongest epic troops in Gems of War, which is Boulder. This is a Stormheim epic troop. It's a giant, so it goes very well with the class because I'm using the Titan Hero class. It's going to be getting a 50% mana start because Titan gives all giants a 50% mana start. I have 2 copies here so as to allow me to spam skulls. The spell for this one is the Bones of the Earth. It's going to create 4 skulls boosted by blue allies. So the same thing for Ocean's Tome, the same thing for Boulder. Just make sure you have blue allies on the team, and he will give you the maximum amount of skull creation with this troop right here. He also gains life as well. Every single time you match a 4 gem match, a 4 or 5 gem match, he's going to be gaining 1 life. It's not a lot, but it's helpful. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a newer player. I should say as well, I don't want to make this seem as if this is a beginner video. It's a newer player video, right? Top 5 teams for newer players. All right, so that's number 5. Did I take a look at the banner here? I don't think I did. Right, so the banner on this team is from the same faction as the Water Elemental. This is the Sunken banner, right, from the Sunken Fleet faction. So we're having a +2 on blue, a +1 on red because, of course, Boulder uses red mana. And then we're minusing green. As you can see, we're minusing a color that we're not using for the team. Right, so let's hop into a fight here. In Golvania, I'm at Explore 12. You don't have to use Explore 12. Majority of newer players won't be able to hit Explore 12. I just want to showcase it at a higher level to show what you're able to do with a team that is not um, that high in rarity, right? So as you guys can see, we have one Boulder spell ready. We don't want to cast it yet because I want to get other elements of the team ready, like the water elemental. And what I'm going to do here with the water elemental is stun the enemies. So if there are enemy troops that have skull damage reflect, you know what I mean, at 25% or otherwise skull damage reflect, it won't be able to do much. If there are troops over there that have skull damage reduction, it won't be able to do much. Or any other annoying trait which is going to stop your skulls from gaining maximum damage, you're going to take it away with the stunning of these enemies. All their traits are gone. Now we follow up with one Boulder, and we just keep on spamming Boulder here as much as possible. And as you get another Boulder spell ready, you're going to spam it again. If you do not see any gem matches here as a newer player, explode the board with your Osha's Tome, get more blue gems falling on the board, get your Boulder spell ready once again, follow up, more damage, and then you just, there we go, right? It's a super low rarity, I should say. It's below legendary, you know what I mean? It's below legendary. The only thing legendary on this team is the weapon, and once you have a Nexus week coming around, you should be able to procure Osha's Tome from that week. Just craft it in the Soul Forge if you're looking out for it. That's basically when you're going to be able to get the weapon. All right, what is the number 4 pick on the list? Since that number 5 team is a Boulder Osha's Tome team, you can switch around maybe the Water Elemental if you don't like, but I tend to like to keep it on the team. It's a really, really good option. All right, number 4 on the list is a Gob Truffle team. Now, Gob Truffle is, without a doubt, one of the best legendary troops in the game. It's an underworld troop as well, and you're going to notice a theme in many of these teams is that you're going to find underworld troops to be some of the most useful troops in the game. A lot of other YouTubers covered this topic, but I'm just reiterating it, right? Gob Truffle is a 18 mana cost. I think this was lower before. Then they nerfed the troop a couple years ago. 18 mana cost, elemental goblin from a Manathrax, right? That's the faction associated with Zejin. So if you want to get this troop, go down to Manathrax. You should be able to pick up multiple copies of this legendary troop. His spell is Mushroom Mania. I pronounce that word very weird because of my accent, right? He's going to deal magic plus 2 damage to all enemies. Then he's going to create a mix of 14 green and brown gems boosted by poisoned and diseased enemies. And he gains next return, of course, because he's a goblin troop. He also has Spore Cloud for his final trait. He's going to disease a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. One of the best troops in the game, man. Actually, one of the best troops you can get from the underworld as well. Times 2 of Gob Truffle. And at the top of the team, we're having Forest Troll. Now, Forest Troll is one of the best giants in the game. Those troops that can double a particular type and then add a couple more to it. Forest Troll is able to double up the what the hell is this, man? Keep getting things popping up in my video here. All right, so he's able to double the green gems on the board and create 3 more green gems. That's going to allow him to synergize very well with King Gob Truffle on the team. He also has skull damage reduction, and he has a very good first trait. The Tangle first trait, entangling when doing skull damage, will save a lot of newer players, right? Because when you entangle an enemy, they're gonna be, you're gonna see that animation of a vine wrapping the troop. And along with that, the troop will also have 0 attack, right? So he's not gonna be able to do damage to you. And even if he did, you have skull damage reduction. Times 2 of Gob Truffle, and then a weapon that might not be the easiest to acquire, but you can acquire this. How do you acquire this? When there is a Glacial Peaks. You see, it says it right there on the weapon, right there below the Arboreal Crystal's design. It says Glacial Peaks. You should be able to procure this weapon when there's a Glacial Peaks week. In fact, the Arboreal Crystal is one of the first of its type. The exploded type weapons, which explode a particular color and grant a random status effect to a particular typing. This was one of the first ever weapons of that style that were added to the game. And it's one of the better ones. Why? Because the weapon has similar things to the Osha's Tome weapon that we looked at before. It has Tangling, which is going to entangle the first enemy when you cast the weapon. It has Primal, it's going to destroy, I think, some gems. I think they're green gems it's going to destroy. And it has Leaf. It's going to conjure a Leaf Storm, which is a green storm, which is going to benefit your team a lot. right? Yeah, Primal will destroy 3 random green gems. That's what it does. And the fact that all the elements of this team, all the troops on this team are elementals, um, granting a random status effect to all elemental allies synergizes very well. And as a newer player, that's one of the things you want to take a look at for your teams. Ensure that your teams are very synergenic. You know what I mean? They work very well together, and that's one of the reasons why I doubled up on some troops here, because you might not have all the troops in the game, but if you can grab 2 or 3 copies of a particular type, certain ones, they should be able to help you to make better teams and make your game a little bit easier. Once again, I'm going with the Titan hero class, and of course, Titan is a class that is very fitting for newer players. Had a lot of good things. Gives 50% mana start to a lot of troops that are useful, and it just works very well. Of course, the Elementalist class is there as well, but I think Titan works a bit better for some newer players. Um, the reason why I went with this banner on this team, the Night banner from the City of Thieves, is because I want to get my Arboreal Crystal spell ready as fast as possible, so as to get the rest of the team spell ready. And once it gets going, this should be pretty quick. Hopefully, I'm not taking too much time explaining the mechanics of this, but because this is a video focused on more of some newer players, that's why I'm doing it like that. All right, so let's get some mana to the Arboreal Crystal as quick as possible. There we go. We got mana to the Arboreal Crystal. Go ahead and explode the gems on the board. As you can see, we have our Gob Truffle spell ready. And once you have your Gob Truffle spell ready, you don't want to waste any time. You want to cast him as quick as possible because he gains a guaranteed extra turn, man. A guaranteed extra turn. And you just spam Gob Truffle as much as possible. If he doesn't loop and there's a lot of green gems on the board, as you can see, 19 green gems, you just double them up with your Force Troll. And you have your Gob Truffle spell ready again, just to cast it over and over and over again, man. Even with the nerf, King Gob Truffle is still one of the best troops that you're able to use in Gems of War, without a doubt. All right, let's move on to the number 3 pick on the list for some of the best teams for newer players. All right, let's go ahead and look at this one. So number 3 on the list is a Queen Beetrix Venoxia team. You guys are wondering why I'm looking to my right so much, because right now I'm watching the Packers versus Vikings game, and the Vikings are leading 20-10, man. Not bad. Packers are kind of sucking right now. But let's get back to the team, right? Queen Beetrix is here as a really easy troop to acquire. This is once again an underworld troop. This is from the Deep Hive, which is associated to the Drifting Sands Kingdom, right? Queen Beetrix is a wild folk mystic troop. We all know this troop. At least newer players might just be getting used to it, but she's an amazing troop in many game modes. As a matter of fact, this is one of the teams that you're able to use not only in explore and game modes like that, maybe different factions and stuff like that. But you're also able. Oh wow, why am I getting this notification over and over again, man? Let me adjust my settings here. All right, there we go. Let's take a look at this. All right, so yeah, Queen Beetrix deals true damage. As a matter of fact, true scatter damage to enemies. And before that, she's creating those green gems and those brown gems, 9 of each, right, with her Hornet Nest spell. And then going down the spell as well, she also has a 40% chance to get an extra turn or half her mana back, which is really, really good. Really good, man. She has board control that she can gain an extra turn from. She has an independent chance of an extra turn, 40%, and she also has the ability to get her mana back, which she can also do from the gems she's already putting on the board. She's an amazing troop. And then she has even better traits, right? She has Deep Vitality. She will gain 9 life when attacking delves. She also has Arcane. She will gain 1 magic when an ally casts a spell. And she has a Royal Honey. She will cleanse all allies when matching 4 or more gems. Super overpowered troop right here. Really, really good. And yeah, Venoxia is also here. This is another troop that synergizes very well with Queen Beetrix because it's putting green gems on the board, 9 of that. And it's also putting blue gems on the board, which is what Beetrix uses for her mana colors, right? She has green and blue mana for her mana colors. And yeah, it works very well. It deals true damage as well. Not scatters true damage, but true damage overall. And it also has the ability to gain more magic with the Arcane second trait. I think Queen Beetrix also has arcane. There it is. So it gains more magic when an ally casts a spell, which is pretty good. Leprechaun is going to be here, and Leprechaun is pretty easy to acquire, man. It is a ultra rare, right? Yeah. Once you get the sucker traded with the Nature's Link, and of course with the empowered, the important part is the empowered. Nature's Link comes first, of course. Once you get them traded to empowered, Leprechaun becomes one of your most important troops going through the game in every game mode. In every game mode, especially if you're moving into doing some PvP battles. Then another weapon here is the Mountain Crusher weapon. This is one of the things that you're going to need to have from the early game into the late game. Mountain Crusher is amazing. Explodes brown gems and creates a brown storm. Really, really good weapon. Perfectly synergized with many classes in the game. I'm using this now with the Archer hero class. Why I'm using Archer? I'm using Archer because Archer has a root trap along with the Nature's Aura and a 50% mana start. So I'm going to be having a fast start with the traits, and then I have green gems falling on the board after I explode the board with my Leprechaun, right? So the banner on this team is something you might want to spend your warbands on. I think those are called war coins. I don't remember what they're called. Those useless coins for the late game. I don't remember exactly what they're called. Maybe someone can tell me in the comment section, man. This is a PAX banner, right? It's a war bands banner, hunting pack banner right here. It's +2 on green, +1 on brown. And we're minusing yellow because, who needs that? Let's go into a fight right here. This is the third team on the list for newer players. Right, so let's match some gems. You cast your Leprechaun, get the green gems falling on the board. As you guys can see, Queen Beetrix is already spell ready. And you just follow up Venoxia, Queen Beetrix. Just keep on doing it over and over again. Whenever the loop stops, you follow up with one more. The enemy team matches gems. It doesn't really matter as much. Because as you can see, you're still dealing a huge amount of damage. And one of these troops, either the Mountain Crusher, Queen Beetrix, or Venoxia, is going to be spell ready so as to kill out the enemy team. Really potent team right here with Queen Beetrix and Venoxia. They are the main killers on the team. And I think that some newer players should be able to acquire this team. Venoxia is a little bit more difficult because you have to wait for a Mist of Scales event, or you have to get it by luck, or you have to craft it in the Soul Forge. Of course, Mythics are more important with your crafting materials at a lower level. So you really want to make sure you're able to afford it before thinking about crafting this troop. It's not the worst craft in the game, but I'd prefer you to try and get it from event keys when there is a Mist of Scales week, or to get it at random from keys. All right, so that is the number 3 team on the list for some of the best teams for newer players. All right, what is the number 2 pick on the list, man? What do you guys think it's going to be? I think you might be able to tell from the class right here. And this is a pure Adana team. One of the cheaper teams to acquire in the game. What is up with this, man? Return to focus. My God. Getting all these notifications when I'm making a video. This is stupid. All right, so up front on this team, we have the Drill Shooter. A Drill Shooter is a legendary weapon that you're able to get from the Soul Forge whenever there is an Adana week, right? Adana Kingdom week. This is a missile weapon. It's one of the unique ones in the game. Why it's unique is because the weapon has some cool upgrades. In fact, the final upgrade is the best, right? Vorpal has a 20% chance to have lethal damage on the first enemy. That's like really over the top. There's a 20% chance to kill one enemy troop. Really, really cool. And then it's boosted for the weapon. The gem creation of this weapon is boosted by Adana allies. And the allies that you're able to acquire here are some of the strongest ones in the game, and some other troops that I really, really like using. So yeah, that's important to point out. You have to attach the Mechanist hero class with this weapon as well, because the Mechanist class is associated to Adana. So you really want to do that. And this is my setup for the class. I have Stonewall, Protector, I have Vanguard, Tactician, Mentor, Banishment, and of course Armor Plating. I think you can adjust the class as well to fit you a little bit more. Maybe you can go with Precision instead of Protector, because I'm using a missile weapon on this one. And then we have Borg 3000. Borg 3000 is a epic troop, a really good generator, very similar to another generator that's out there. Metal Beak is the spell destroying a huge amount of gems, followed by the most powerful damage dealer in Gems of War. The most powerful. It scales into the heavens. Tesla is a part of this team, and this could have taken the number one spot, except for the fact that the number one pick I think is just so easily acquired. It's kind of dumb, right? That team is still so easy to get. But nonetheless, Tesla is an amazing troop, deals true scatter damage, boosted by all ally and enemy armors. So the stronger the enemies get, the stronger your team gets, the more damage your Tesla is going to be putting out. And that's just straight up amazing. It has good traits as well. Invention and Overclock are good traits, but undoubtedly the spell is what makes this so good. And then at the back of the steam is Ting's Steam Whistle. Now this is a pretty good troop that you're able to acquire from the underworld as well. You guys can see the pattern here. Underworld troops that you're easily able to grab. Some of the best troops in the game you're able to grab. So if you're not making use of the underworld, you're kind of not playing the game the right way, right? Ting's Steam Whistle is from Tinkertown, which is associated to the Adana Kingdom. It's a dwarf mech with a 16 mana cost of yellow and brown. Spell is dwarving ingenuity. Is going to give magic +1 armor and life to all allies, boosted by red gems, and then it will summon 1 to 3 Tinkertown bots. Now, it's a lot of good things there, right? It's giving the troops armor, which is important. It's also giving them life, just in case enemy troops are dealing true damage. And then it resummons. It has a boost ratio based on gems that are on the board. It also has great traits: deep vitality, fortitude, so it's immune to stun, immune to poison, immune to disease, immune to death mark, and immune to lycanthropy and devour. So you'll always have this troop around if it's on your team, because they can't just kill it out with just whatever status effect. They will have to do something else. And then it has flux capacitor. This final trait is one of the better ones in the game. It's a dual storm. So I think there are about 2 troops in the game that you're able to get from the underworld with dual storms. One is the Magma Dragon. The other is Tink Steamos. I think there's one more. If you guys remember exactly what that troop is, drop in the comment section. I don't remember what that third troop is you're able to gain from the underworld, but let me know, man. That dual storm, the Electro Storm, is a red and yellow storm. Every single turn, you're going to be having this. And because Ting's Steam Whistle is immune to stun, troops will never stop this storm from occurring unless they curse stun the troop, which is something else for a different video. You know what I mean? All right, so yeah, that is that team. Let's take a look at the banner on this team. The banner is also from an underworld faction. This is the Worm banner from the Worm Run faction. Say +2 on yellow, +1 on red, and then we're minusing purple. Let's go ahead and take a look at this team. I think I should have maybe changed my medals here, but I'm going to go at it just like this. All right, so your first assignment, of course, once you see Bork on a team, is to get mana to your Bork 3000 as quick as possible. There we go. We got Bork. Now we cast Bork, get Tesla spell ready. Follow up with Tesla, true damage. If you want to, you can cast your Bork again, or you can go ahead and cast a Drill Shooter for some mana generating. There we go. There we go. Super low rarity team. I should say below mythic. I want to make mention of that. I want to say it's super low rarity. It's 3 legendary options, but they are not hard to get. I'm gonna be real with you. They're not hard to get. Some newer players, once these weeks come around, you should be able to acquire. Excuse me. You should be able to acquire these options here. And yeah, what do you guys think is gonna be in the number 1 spot, man? What do you guys think is gonna be in the number 1 spot? What do you guys think? Drop in the comment section before you watch the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think was in that number 1 spot. Number 1 on the list is a Rowanne team. You couldn't go through a video covering newer player teams and not cover a Rowanne team. Rowanne is easily the most powerful troop newer players have access to. For one, it's an epic troop, right? For one, it's an epic troop. 2, you get it from just completing the Kingdom questline for Force of Thorns. So you just play the game as you should, you'll get this. That's basically it. Play the game as you should, and you're gonna get this. And that is amazing, right? It's amazing. And the fact that the troop scales just keeps on scaling is really really good. It doesn't scale the same way as Tesla. It's similar but a little bit different, right? Tesla is boosted by all ally and enemy armor, so she scales even more. But this team right here, this troop right here, I should say, scales based on its own armor. So you buff up your Rowanne, the stronger she's gonna hit. That's really really good. Maybe some players are gonna disagree with me with the fact that Rowanne is above Tesla. The reason why I put it above is because it's more easily acquired, right? Everything on this team, I should say, is more easy to acquire. Um, the Shield of Erskaya is an amazing weapon. You get this from 250 wins from the Earth, what's it called? The Sentinel hero class, right? Which is associated with the kingdom. What's the name of this kingdom again? The Erskaya. The Erskaya kingdom. For a second there, I couldn't locate the name. From the Erskaya kingdom. The weapon has some really good upgrades as well. It has armored, gains 4 armor. It has shielding. It barriers the hero every single time you cast this weapon. It also has radiant. It will give 1 mana to all allies. That's sacred. I think that's a bless to the hero. And that's stun. It will stun the first enemy, which is pretty good. The weapon gives an ally armor, right? But the armor is also boosted by enemy attack. So the stronger your enemies are when it comes down to their attack, the more attack they have, the more armor this is going to put out to whichever troop you cast it on. If you choose the hero or Rowanne or whatever troop, it's going to put out more armor for that troop. It works really well, I should say, with any barrier on brown hero class that has a brown storm. So, for example, Titan or Elementalist or Rune Priest or let's see here, Plague Lord. Plague Lord doesn't really have a brown storm, but it has barrier on brown, which is pretty good. So just keep that in mind when using this weapon. You really want to put on a barrier on brown hero class, preferably one that has a brown storm to go along with it. But in this instance, I'm not using it like that, right? I just want to make mention of that. I'm not using it like that. I'm using it with a barbarian hero class here. Why I'm using barbarian? Because barbarian has a green storm, and a green storm can be pretty good with your Rowanne in getting its spell ready really, really, really fast. For newer players, though, work with a brown storm. It's just better off for you. Thrall is going to be here on this team as well. I like using Thrall. Why? Thrall is a common troop. A common troop that has one of the best gem destructions in the game. So magic plus 4 gems. Thrall destroys. Takes a small amount of damage. It has an ability of gaining an extra turn, boosted by red gems on the board. It also has a link into itself with a 6 mana cost. So it's just amazing. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. Leprechaun on this team as well. If you want to use a different troop right here, you can go with Empowered. Instead of Leprechaun, there are a number of different gem converting troops, right? So if you go down to convert gems right here in your menu, see if I can get my head out of the way. There it is, convert gems. And just look for troops that can convert gems into your thrall. And there are a number of different options that you could work with. Troop that comes to mind that's really good right now, and that's kind of a meta troop, is the Bane of Mercy. This is a Sin of Mirage troop. In fact, when I make this video, I think it is a Sin of Mirage week. Yeah, there it is on the screen, the Sin of Mirage week. So you can also put that there in the back of the team. This converts yellow gems to purple, and it's giving attack to the first ally, cursing enemies as well. So that might prove to be very useful on some teams. So yeah, let's use it like this. Let's get into a fight right here. This is Golvania, battle number 1. We're using the best team for newer players. Definitely a Rowanne team, I would say so. Is one of the best teams for newer players. All right, let's see if we can match some gems and get. We have Rowanne spell ready, but we really want to cast the shield first before we cast Rowanne. There we go. Right, so now we're gonna cast the shield on Rowanne. Huge amount of armor for her. It's the first cast, completely rip off the enemy's armor. Now we follow up with more damage from Rowanne. That troop was barriered, so we couldn't get to kill him out. Now all that damage is gonna be targeting one troop. He's gonna die. Right, really powerful option here, man. And yeah, that is my video covering some of the best teams, the top 5 best teams, in my opinion, for newer players. Not necessarily new beginners, but just some newer players, maybe not that high as me, in level, so you should be able to use these teams. Let's take a look at them once again. Boulder ×2 with the water elemental and the ocean stone weapon. Then following up from there is the force troll with ×2 gob truffle, a boreal crystal team. Queen Beetrix team with Venoxia, Mountain Crusher, Leprechaun, and then that's one of the most powerful teams in Gems of War is a Tesla team with Borg 3000, Ting's Team Whistle, and the Drill Shooter weapon. Finally, in the number one spot was Rowanne, Thrall, Bane of Mercy, or Leprechaun, whatever you want to put here that works for you, and the Shield of Erskaya. Yeah, hopefully you guys and gals found this video helpful and informative, man. If you did, share it. Share it with your guild. Share it with some newer guilds that are out there that are looking for good teams for players. I'm going to try as well to put all the team codes in the description, right? I tend to forget sometimes. I'm going to try my best. Put all the team codes in the description so you guys can go down there, copy the team codes, put them in your teams. Of course, if you're on console, you won't be able to do that. I'll list what the teams are for you guys. And yeah, I'll catch y'all next one. Peace.